Hi, friends. I'm sorry I'm a little late in the book today. Definitely want to get the story in, and I wanted to thank you to those of you that were able to come to the Zoom. We had about 7 kids that came and went, and Miss Workman was there, Mrs. White was there, Mrs. Johnson, and Miss Jennifer and I were there. So I know that parents are working, and not everybody can't make it every time. We're gonna have another one on Friday. So I wanted to read this book because this made me think of summer and springtime, and this is a book that I read when I was your age. It's called Henry's Awful Mistake. And this is Henry the Duck. And it's by Paula Quackenbush. I'm not sure if that's her real name or not. But it's funny to me because ducks say quack. Well, this is Henry, and this is an ant that comes to his house. And he gets crazy when it comes to his house, and he does all sorts of funny things. There's the ant on the back. I don't know about you, but when the weather gets warm, we get ants that come to our house because we live by a woods. So it's that time. Well, let's see what Henry does with his ant. Henry's Awful Mistake. There's the title. And since Paula I read that upside down. I don't know where I got Paula. Robert Quackenbush is also the author who wrote the words and the illustrator. There it is. The day Henry the Duck asked his friend Clara over for supper, he found an ant in the kitchen. There's the ant. Oh. Henry was worried that Clara would see the ant. She might think his house was not clean. The ant had to go. Oh. Henry reached for a can of ant spray. But he didn't want to spray near the food he was cooking, so he chased the ant with a frying pan. Henry ran around the kitchen chasing after the ant, but the ant got away and hid behind the stove. I wonder what's going to happen next. Can you make a prediction? Let's guess. Do you think Henry is going to catch the ant? Yes or no? Think about it. Make your prediction. Henry took the food he was cooking off the stove. Then he shut off the flame and pulled the stove away from the wall. He saw the ant! There it is! The ant saw Henry and ran into a small crack in the wall. Henry went and got a hammer. Has he caught the ant yet? My prediction hasn't come true yet. I think he might catch the ant. I'm wondering what he's going to do with the hammer. It says he's going to go get a hammer. Let's make another prediction. What do you think he's going to do with that hammer? Do you think he's going to try to hit the ant? I don't know. Let's read and see. Oh no! Henry pounded a big hole in the wall where the crack was. Don't do that. But he couldn't find the ant, so he kept on pounding. That's crazy! Don't do that! The hole got bigger and bigger. At last, Henry saw the ant sitting on a pipe inside the wall. Did you think he was going to hit the wall with a hammer? I did too, but I've read this book. Now, what do you think he's going to do with the pipe? Do you think he's going to hit the pipe? Make a prediction. Make your guess. Remember, a prediction is a guess what's going to happen next. Just like we say people try to predict the weather, which in Indiana is really hard. I'm going to turn the page. Let's see what happens. How many of you said he hit the pipe? Ah! Henry aimed the hammer at the ant and missed. The blow of the hammer broke the pipe. Oh no! Wow. How many of you predicted that water would come out if he hit the pipe? That's even cooler. Not cool if it's at your house though. Water came shooting out of the pipe. Henry couldn't stop it. Oh no! Oh, look. There's the ant. He's watching him. Henry grabbed a towel. He tied it around the pipe, and the water stopped shooting out. the ant, he came back out. But Henry hadn't stopped the water soon enough. It had sprayed all over the kitchen. Everything was soaking wet, except for Clara's supper, thank goodness. Poor guy, he's all wet. Do you think that little towel will keep the water back? Stop and make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that the water's all gone? Or do you think that the towel is going to break and there's more water coming? Tell your family what you think is going to happen next. Oh, don't know yet. It says, Henry began mopping up the puddles of water. All at once, he slipped and banged against the kitchen table. Everything came crashing down. Henry would cover with pots and pans and food. Oh, no. I didn't predict that would happen. Wonder about the water still. You got to be careful. That's not safe if there's waters on the floor. That's why he fell. Poor Henry. The supper was ruined. There was nothing Henry could do now but to call Clara and tell her not to come. Poor Henry. Do you see the ant? He's hiding right there. He's really tiny. That's what I used to do when I had this book when I was little. I used to like to find the ant on every page. It's like a nice Bible. Uh-oh. How many of you predicted that the water would not be held back by that? That the water would come out even with the towel? Look, you were right. While Henry was talking on the telephone, the towel came loose. From the pipe, the water came shooting out and flooded the whole house. Henry was carried right out the front door by the flood. Ah! That's what telephones looked like when I was little. There's the ant. It's going to. There was nothing. Oh, look at this house. There was nothing, poor Henry. There was no going back, excuse me. It's hard to read upside down. Poor Henry's house was washed away by the flood. He saved what he could and moved into a new house. There's the ant. When Henry was settled in his new house, he asked Clara over for supper. Just as he went to the door to let Clara in, he saw an ant. All right, one last prediction. Do you think he's going to chase the ant again? Or do you think he's going to just not bother it? Tell your family what you think is going to happen next. Let's see. He looked the other way, which means he ignored the ant. That is a good thing to do if someone's bothering you. Ignore them, right? That's a silly story. It just makes me think of ants that you see this time in the springtime. And it's a good one for making predictions. When you're reading a book, you could do the same thing. You could stop, if it's a book you've never read, and try to guess what happens next. Hope you had a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.